Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody, and here's part 2 of the rape case. Because I was citing suspicions and all, I thought let me give you a part 2 in which we can talk a little more in detail. Okay, so what exactly? This is Campus 10, okay? This is Punjab College Campus 10. And funny enough, actually, before the protest started 4 days ago, there was somebody who posted about this on Reddit. If you go to Reddit, Pakistan, you would see that there's Punjab College Campus 10 rape. And this person, the student, said that, this is something that actually happened and I want to do something about it and I just don't know what to do. But I mean, this is the truth. We have evidence. One of the students' mobiles was literally broken by a teacher because she had evidence in her mobile of the fact that this rape actually occurred. And according to her, she was like, yesterday night, we found out that, in campus 10 or 10th campus, there was a rape case, and I have walked by that same guard. I'm quoting this student's words. I have walked by that same guard who's being accused 10 times. I know PGC is conservative as a school compared to others, but the amount of male staff is even more than a lot of co-ed A-level colleges. Now, this is exactly why I wanted to do a part 2, because this was something that I wanted to discuss in the first part of the podcast, but I wanted to make sure, because I instinctively felt that the ratio of male teachers to female students was alarming, and I wanted to make sure that if I was right in thinking that. So she just proved my point. Actually, she confirmed my thoughts here, or my fears, because this is something that actually somebody talked about on TikTok and somebody else shared. And in that the words that they said was what instinctively pointed me towards this area. This thought was, when they said that, we need to start a movement in which we should make an all women university, all women colleges, where the staff should also be females. And I'm like, okay, this was actually the first time I suspected that a staff involvement is key here. I understand that there are students who are adamant of the fact that no, the guard was definitely involved, but I don't know why. I just feel that no, it's the teachers that were involved. Because if you understand the story, with the story that has reached our ears from the students, it's that this girl was accidentally locked in one of the rooms in the basement, and she was locked during break time. And that somehow or the other they seem to have had evidence that one of the teachers was aware of the fact that she was making a lot of noise, asking for somebody to help her to open the door, but they ignored it. And that when it was home time, when the whole college was over and all the students had left, that is when the guard opened the door and proceeded to assault her. Now, after that, obviously, by the time this news came out, it was that that she was of ICS, which, as I said, a freshman. You can call them freshmen because first year she just started college. She was in ICS, and that by the time this student had posted it on Reddit, the girl was in the ICU. But now, I mean, as of now, when I posted my podcast, as you know, I've already said that she's passed away. In fact, while this whole Reddit thread was going on after that, when it came up on the news and all, and then that's the developments that occurred was that she had passed away in the ICU. So apparently, according to the student, I'm actually literally reading her Reddit post, because half of it is in Urdu, half it is in English, so I'm trying to make it as brief as possible in English. And she's like, the student is in ICU, and apparently they are suspending all those girls who are trying to raise a voice. And one of the girls' phone was literally broken by a teacher, but this is not fake. My friends told me that girl was her screams went all the way up to the third floor, so this is not a lie. Okay, so as I said, that there seem to have been some witnesses amongst the students who, were aware that something was going on, and when they tried to raise their voice, the teachers ganged up on those students. In fact, the whole class was suspended, and then that's how the protest, as I said, began within the campus, and then the protest evolved to the second campus. So there were two campuses. It started in one campus, then it went on in two campuses, and now it's a nationwide protest. And all these students, the boys and girls, are very, very, very pissed off. They're very passionate, and we can understand. As I said before, who are we to try to threaten them? In fact, the fact, again, as I said, the reason why I call Maryam Nawaz the bitch is because this bitch literally, has opened up the Punjab police to openly threatening people. First she told them to threaten the women of PTI, as I told you, and then the female supporters, and then the female citizens who protested, just regardless of their age. And now, I mean, they've become so bold that they literally, as I said, as far as I know, many of these police officers' own kids would be studying in PGC. But for that police officer who was probably of a higher rank, for him to come and say to a female student that you need to stop this protest, or else whatever happened to that girl could also happen to you, meaning that the police will do to her or to the other girls what a guard did to that, I mean, alleged guard did to that student. And the girl said that she asked that policeman that if your daughter was studying here, would you say the same thing to her? And he said that my daughter is not some nobody. She's not some freaking nobody who would be studying in this college, and she's beyond everybody's league. So nobody would dare touch her. Yeah. You do realize in Islam there's something called karma, where when you say something, it backfires on you really badly. So I'm a female and I don't want to say it, but I'm going to be forced to say it here. The way you just opened your mouth here, I'm sorry, but now you better get ready for your girl to get a dose of some of that. Because God has a very sadistic nature. You should know that by now. God is essentially a sadist. That is why we call karma a bitch. Yeah. So when we tend to open our big mouths in front of people like that, God has this very, very sadistic way of throwing it back at our faces. Yeah, so I would worry about your daughter right now. Seriously, I would really worry about your daughter right now. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. As I said, that is exactly what I questioned in my first part of the podcast, really, when I said that so many people who belong to police families or probably students in Punjab group of colleges, and would the policemen dare say or do anything to their peers, their colleagues, their superior officers or their junior officers' kids? But and here is proof. They actually would do that, they just did that. So now, my point here, where I find it really odd, I understand, again, as I said, just to save the reputation of their institution, they would save a lowly staff of a security guard. But again, this is not something that I can wrap my head around, because as in my personal experience of what I've seen as how these people are treated, is that people drop them like hot coals. I've seen security guards in my own housing society where whenever they try to do their job, they get hit, they get bullied, they get abused, they get thrown to jail by these rich elites, who they have the nerve to stop. And the management of the housing society that I live in, the management does not give support to those guards. No, they tell the guards, okay, you know what, you better apologize to these people who were committing a crime and who you were trying to stop. Apologize to them so that you can get out of jail. We can't help you. So this is what I've always seen happen. You understand what I'm saying? So I really find it very odd that just to save the reputation of their institution, they would let the security guard go. I mean, I know allegedly he is in the custody of the police, but The fact that the institution would want to protect their guard just to protect the name and reputation of the institution, I can't digest it. But again, as I said, the students are saying that no, the guard, they have evidence, or they had evidence which was wiped by the teachers and the principal and the admin. Again, very, very suspicious that the teachers and the admin wiped the evidence. I don't know, but something tells me the guard was not involved. I mean, look at the story itself. A teacher was aware that the girl was locked inside and he did not send somebody or come himself to open the door. What does that tell you? Listen, they may have put the guard to it, or they may have given the guard, you know, they may have made him an accomplice, but something tells me the teachers were involved. Why else would the principal go and actually delete records of the student and delete footages on the CCTV cam? Because there are CCTV cameras in every room. And suddenly you can't find the footage. And the student that had some evidence in her phone, the phone was broken by the teacher. Yeah, I mean, am I the only one who's again and again going towards that side? Seriously, or is anybody else here with me? Although I know that there was an incident, somebody else in this same Reddit thread said that there was a similar incident in a hospital where a very, very young girl, a minor, was assaulted by a lowly staff, and there are incidents where these guards or caretakers or low staffs have been known to have assaulted female students, but they generally tend to attack minors. They feel they can get away with it. But again, as I said, usually these people who belong to very, very poor families, they do not very easily dare to commit crimes against people that are of a higher socioeconomic status than they are, because they know they have no backing. So again, if the guard is involved, it means he knew he would have backing. Again, why did he know that he would have backing? That means he is already an accomplice in other illicit activities with the admin and the teachers. You know what I'm trying to say? It means that the only way that the guard, if the guard indeed was the actual main culprit, the only way he could, dare do such a thing against a student, because as you know, most students that go to Punjab group of colleges are from well-off families, and to be able to mess with a student of that college as a lowly staff, and to be so confident that you can get away with it, means that you have already been in an illicit working relationship with the teachers and the admin. The fact that, again, I would go back to that fact, the fact that the teacher was aware of the fact that the girl was locked but refused to get her out and ignored her, despite the fact that she was so loud that, as people said, that, I don't know. I find that obviously there's bits and pieces here that are missing in the whole story. The fact that the people in the Punjab government literally scolded students and family members of the victim, students of who were class fellows of the victim, and family members. The fact that Maryam Nawaz and her goons literally threatened and abused and scolded the family members and the students for trying to report this incident. That is, as I said, that's why Maryam Nawaz is the bitch after all. I mean, what can one say? The first time you have a female chief minister in Punjab, and that's the first time in the history of Pakistan that women are constantly getting attacked left, right, and center, and by the police, by guards, by teachers, by professors. I am a teacher. I've been a teacher since I was a freaking teenager, for your information. Thank you very much. I have more than 2 decades of experience teaching teenagers and people in their 20s. And I'm saying people in their 20s because 20s are adults, university students, postgrads, graduation students, So I've taught grads, postgrads, and I've taught teenagers. And believe me, the fact that in the last decade, which is the last decade that I've been out of the teaching scene formally, as in I now work, as you know, on my own as a self-employed coach and language instructor. But I'm out of the formal teaching scene, as in I don't teach in institutes and colleges and schools anymore. It's been more than a decade. But the fact that it's so sad to see, as a friend of mine was discussing with me just a few hours before I did this podcast, was the education sector was the one thing that we were so proud of in Pakistan. And to see that they're ruining that. Which I then told her, I was like, that's the specialty of this Nawaz Sharif and family. Whenever they come into the government, they're always fingering with the education. Shahbaz Sharif has this perverse, sadistic sort of a addiction with the medical colleges and universities. The first thing that he does whenever he comes is he fingers with the medical institutions, and Nawaz Sharif and all. I mean, they just have to ruin the education whenever they come. As I said, Mia Amir, the fact that Mia Amir is the owner of the educational institution is a concerning fact on its own. How can you expect a morally corrupt man who made money through corrupt means, who made projects through corrupt means, by bribing his connections in the government, to get illegally, to get documents signed illegally in his favor, without without going through the right red tape or the protocols. He's bypassing all protocols. He bypassed those protocols when he started the Punjab group of colleges. He bypassed it again when he made the university. He bypassed it again when he started his allied schools project. He's been bypassing every single red tape or protocol. It's going straight to Nawaz Sharif, getting papers signed, and off you go. The same thing when he opened his channel. His channel in itself also was opened mostly in an illegal manner. I mean, it didn't follow due protocols. So how can you trust such a person? How can you think it's okay for your kids to study in an educational institution created by that person, founded by that person? I mean, that personally, I have always had a problem with Mia Amir, because I'm thinking corrupt people entering into the education field is going to corrupt Pakistan's education. And that's exactly what happened, really. Beacon House, Punjab group of colleges, University of Lahore, and I'm not talking about Lahore College University, which is a freaking century old government college. No, I'm talking about University of Lahore, in Rywand. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about Beacon House Group. I'm talking about the educators. I'm talking about PGC, Punjab Group of Colleges. These are all corrupt people running corrupt educational institutions, making more corrupt money. You know what I'm saying? They're leeching off of our society's money. They're leeching off of their students' money, and in return, they're not even protecting their students. They're not taking care of their students. They're not. I mean, why would students come to a college or a university or a school where they're not safe? where they're not getting the right kind of discipline from their teachers, where they're not getting the right kind of education. Why would anybody want to go to Punjab group of colleges where just to save the reputation of his institution, he decided to go through all this, like from threatening the students to suspending the whole class to suspending the whole college to then shutting down everything, and and threatening the students who were protesting through police, through Maryam Nawaz, I mean, just to you save you did the opposite. All you did was highlight the fact that you are a corrupt man after all, and that your corrupt practices are seeping into your educational institution, where your principals and your administration, your management, your teachers, who are supposed to be teaching students to be good, upright citizens who can contribute towards the future for the civilization, you're actually demeaning those students, you're abusing those students who are feeding every single one of you, whose parents' money is what is paying your salaries. You actually thought that you were more powerful than those students who are paying your salary, those students who are coming to your education. The day they will, your educational center, the day they will decide, and I'm thankful to say that most of the students are boycotting the colleges and your whole institutional, how should your whole educational group. The fact the students are withdrawing their applications, the fact the students are boycotting your university, your colleges, that's a very good sign. And as I said again, I hope that the parents are not going to be hypocritical motherfuckers and, put pressure on the students that no, after all, their material benefit is more important than the life of a girl. I'm so glad that the kids are not even listening to those parents. If those mofo parents are right now doing that, I'm glad that it's only building up in the rage of the students and those people who, as always, just want, as I said, we have a culture, a global culture of wanting the victim to remain the victim. So the minute the victim tries to fight for their rights, we will always try to manipulate them and brainwash them into thinking that they are wrong. Like this whole thing about, oh, you should always forgive the perpetrator. Oh, revenge is not the right way to go. Yeah, shut it. Shut it. Just shut the frack up. Okay? This is how the world has been corrupted to this point, where there is a freaking genocide being committed in Gaza, and you people are going your merry way. Yeah, I can see that. That is exactly because of those teachings that you were incorporating, brainwashing your people and your children, that they should not stand up for what is right, but they should keep the victim a victim. The victim should never get up. So you should never stop the perpetrator, but you must stop the victim for standing up. Right? That's the culture that you have created in this whole world. And obviously it's here in our country too. I can't blame my own country here because I've seen it all over the world. So, but I'm talking about my country right now, so I will say yes, in my country this victimization, this glorifying being a victim must stop. Again, you call yourself Muslims, but you know jack shit about Islam. Let me remind you once again that in Islam, you must stand up for a victim and you must stop the perpetrator. And if you are late in stopping the perpetrator, you must help the victim get justice. You cannot tell the victim to forget and forgive. In fact, by doing so, you have become an accomplice of that perpetrator, by the way. And so you are now going to be another sinner, and you will be punished equally as the perpetrator. Because not only did you fail to stop the perpetrator, but you actually tried to force the victim to forgive and forget. So now you are equally punishable as the perpetrator, as an equal partner in crime. So as a society, we have no bloody fucking right to stop anybody from protesting. If anything, I am heck proud that what I thought about the new generation is exactly as they're showing. I said it again and again. Our generation is fighting so hard, and the next generation will fight with us. And what we cannot accomplish, if we are not able to do that, at least we have not tied their hands the way our parents tied our hands. And I'm so happy they are proving my point here. The kids, go all out and protest. Everybody's with you. In fact, only a mofo is going to go against you. Only a mofoing, hypocritical, mofoing a-hole is going to go against you. And in fact, this Reddit thread is proof of it. Every single person said, protest against it and bring the mofos down. Every single one of them said it. They're like, don't stop, don't be quiet, don't let it pass. You must stand up for her. And and the student said that yes, actually we are planning to start a protest the next day. And as you can see, they started the protest. It's been more than 2 days, officially 2 days, but actually more than 2 days. Okay. And again, I would say kudos to you. In fact, shame on everybody else who has decided to stay put. Shame on every other student of every other college or university that has not yet come out. As I said, the student of LUMS have come out, yes, but where are those postgraduates and graduates of other universities? Come out. Show us that you have actually learned something. Show us that you've actually got some mother freaking education here, please. But again, I would say the fact that just to save the reputation of your institution, you decided to cover for a guard, and you decided to dismiss. I mean, you are supposed to be somebody who has been fake, and I'm saying fake because I've always found it very, very fake of Mia Amir. You're always trying to pretend through your channel even that, look, I'm promoting my students, I'm giving them all the right exposure, I'm going to make their careers. Anybody who belongs to the Punjab group of colleges will get massive benefits, in their future lives. That is the message you've always been giving your students. That is how you've been attracting so many students, by the way, only to do this. So when the time actually came to prove yourself, this is what you go and do, is that you go and you decide to dismiss your students and their rights just to keep the reputation of your freaking college that wouldn't have even had a reputation if it wasn't for these kids. If these students didn't come to your college, no matter what you did, you would never have expanded your group of colleges to the level that they are in today. If the students refused to go to your colleges, and if they created this sort of a bad rumor about your colleges right from day one, you would never have had so many freaking college campuses that you have today. It's all because of the students. Because they went there, they decided to go there, they studied there, they got medals from there, they got positions, they worked hard. You can't take the credit for it, as you've proved today. You just cannot take credit for it because your teachers, your management, your administration have done jack shit to protect their kids. If anything, they are threatening, harassing, blackmailing, abusing, dominating, and insulting and demeaning their kids. Is that the education you're giving your students that never stand up for what's right? So basically it means your schools, your colleges, your institutions are all about creating more submissive sheeps so that you can present sheeples to this fascist government and the future dictatorship, right? So you're basically trying to prepare sheeple for them. That's basically what you're doing here. I mean, that's what I'm understanding from all of this shit. This whole show that you've put on for the past 2 to 3 days, or should I say the past 4 days. You know that in the Quran it is written that, O you who've believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. Whether one is rich or poor, Allah is more worthy of both. So follow not personal inclination, lest you not be just. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. As I said, you become equivalent to the culprit. When you refuse to stand firm to get justice for the victim, how dare you try to tell the students to stand down? How dare you? Who the fuck are you is what we need to ask. Who the fuck are you to tell students to stand down instead of standing up for what is right? And as always, this culture that the Nawaz Sharif and Zardari families always bring whenever they come, into the government, this culture of blaming the victim. Again, in Islam, there's a hadith where the Prophet and his companion were together, and there was a lady who was coming in a hurry. She needed to quickly grab hold of the Prophet, basically. She didn't have time to wear any abaya or any parda or cover her head or anything. In the way that she was, dressed as she was in her home clothes, she just ran towards the Prophet, because to her it was an emergency that she had to just grab hold of him for something or the other. She needed to ask him an urgent question, and she was afraid that she would miss him. So she just left everything and came running to him. And she was extremely beautiful, that lady. She was extremely gorgeous. And so the companion of the Prophet, his jaw dropped, literally. And he stared at her. And the Prophet, he just grabbed hold of the chin of his companion, and he just shoved his face away. He literally just turned his face away. He didn't say a word to the lady that, why are you out like this? Why are you dressed like this? No, he was pissed off at his companion. That, keep your eyes to yourself, man. What the frack is wrong with you? This was exactly what he was saying, basically, by that act that he just did of grabbing hold of his chin and very sharply moving his head to the other side. You could see the Prophet's anger, basically, at the companion as to, what's wrong with you, It is in Islam very clearly written that even if a woman is naked, if a man crosses his boundaries, the onus is on the man. The punishment is on the man. It's not on the woman. It doesn't matter if the woman is stark staring naked. It doesn't matter. The punishment is on the man for crossing his boundaries. So yeah, the punishment is on the rapist. In fact, as I said again, in Islam, you don't even need, people always seem to misread that witnesses part when it comes to rape and all. No, in Islam, there was again another incident where there was a woman passing by. A man suddenly passed by her. He molested her and he ran off. And there were two other men who again passed by, and when they passed by, she was screaming, and then they stopped in concern, and she told them that man that's in front of you was running away. He did this to me. And then when it came to the Prophet's notice, when he found out, and the woman came to the Prophet and said, that man did this to me on the way. And the other two men, they were witnesses in the sense as what, in law we say hearsay. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that when it comes to rape cases, even hearsay is accepted as testimony, by the way. Those two men said that, yes, when we were passing by, she stopped us and told us that man, grab him, he did this to me. So that's why we got a hold of him. And the Prophet is like, okay, that's it. He should be punished by death. No questions asked. He didn't say, give me proof. Where did he molest you? Where did he touch you? How did he touch you? No. In Islam, you're not allowed to ask the victim of an assault or a molestation or sexual harassment how it was done and where it was done. No. In fact, if anybody tries to do that, he is slapped with punishment again. How dare you victimize the victim all over again? How dare you? you're not supposed to show or identify the victim to the whole world, number one, but you must identify the perpetrator in front of the whole world so that people should know. Number two, you must never, ever try to victimize the victim. As long as you have testimony by the victim herself or himself, it is more than enough in the first place. Witnesses are not required in the traditional sense. No, no, no. If, in fact, it is said that if the woman or who's a victim of assault, if she says it even 3 times and swears by God that she was a victim of assault, that is enough. That is more than enough. And in today's world, where you have literally, you know, medical advancement in technology to this extent, where all you have to do is to get the DNA, you get a semen sample, you know, you get the other person's DNA on the victim's body, you know, you get them in the fluids, you get them in the mouth, you get them anywhere and everywhere, you can just get it. It's so easy now to detect rape, you know. Even if the victim is dead, just even a simple basic honest to God autopsy can tell you that this person has been a victim of rape, you know. So in today's world, where you don't even need witnesses, actually, because again, that's where the Sharia comes into play again, the Islamic law again comes into play in that, is law, any proof is, and any proof that doesn't even require witnesses, that's it. You don't need even, if, as long as you've got DNA and as long as you've got, you know, forensics, you don't even need witnesses. Even at that time, the Prophet never needed witnesses. As long as the woman just swore that, okay, this happened to me and this person did it, that's it. He's dead, he's killed, no questions asked. And here, what are we people doing? Oh, suddenly that's when we remember to be westernized. The whole freaking Western world is taking the Sharia law and using it, but we want to take the colonial law and say, and ask them 1,000 questions about, you know, that is also a part of the law that the Western civilization has kept to the Western countries. And that's the irony there, that in this one legal aspect, they're all together. They all, you know, are one, where they've decided to ignore the Islamic law and they've decided to victimize the victim and humiliate the victim all over again, you know, which is absolutely not allowed in Islam. In Islam, you're not even supposed to question the victim. As long as she's given her statement, and again, as I said, in today's world, as long as there's, you know, any even slightest amount of proof, that's it. No witnesses, no testimonies, nothing is required. If the woman swears 3 times, that's it. That is more than enough. The man needs to be killed. But as I said, because Maryam Nawaz and her whole family are basically, you know, part of an organization that not part of, actually, they own the whole organization that deals with child pornography and molestation and rapes and gang rapes. You know, they are all connected. They're all their people, basically. So they will go to any lengths to save those people. On the other side, you have Zardari and Gilani. Gilani's sons were famous all over Lahore for trafficking, human and sexual trafficking, prostitution, you know. And again, you're trying to tell us that, oh, seriously? I've always had a problem with Myanmar. I think I've said that like 10 times now. I always have a problem with those people who want to have educational or medical sectors, but they want to have them through corrupt means. You know, I have no respect or trust for those people. You know, anybody who thinks that he can bypass the law cannot teach you how to be an upright citizen. He cannot open an education institution that can teach their students to be upright citizens. And this is proof. I mean, it's finally, you know, all gotten exposed that he'd rather save a security guard than the respect and interest of the students who he claims to be giving a bright future to. Yeah, I believe that the whole Punjab group of colleges needs to be shut down. Okay, I don't care. As I said, the fact that the owner himself is a dubious character, that puts a blanket over all his projects, all his educational and media projects. They're not trustworthy. They're politically aligned, political affiliated. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not teaching children. They're not protecting the children. They're not giving them a bright future. In fact, if anything, they have just told you that you don't matter. Your lives don't matter. Your self respect doesn't matter. They want your money for free. You're paying them so that they can get away with crimes against you. I think any parent with any self respect or esteem should just remove their kids from this institution ASAP. And this institution needs to be shut down completely. The minute all students withdraw, this institution is dump. It's fucked, you know? So, yeah, it needs to be removed. It needs to be shut down. I think any education institution that disregards the respect, the lives of their students, any institution, and that now amounts to most of the education institutions in Pakistan. As I said, this is something that we prided ourselves on. But thanks to this government that is on a mission by the American establishment to frack Pakistan to bits so that Pakistan should have nothing. And obviously, the army would keep on working on that because to the army's interest is that the more the chaos, the more excuse we will have to jump into an open dictatorship, citing failure of the government, citing failure of the system, citing, failure of order, the whole caboodle. So, yeah, I think I think this protest should grow into a massive scale. I think people need to join it, regardless of what fields they're in, regardless of their ages, because we're talking about the protection of kids. How dare you complain about these kids when you're not even there to help them, to protect them? I have a problem, as I said, with all the education institutions now because there was a time when our schools and our colleges literally took their responsibilities very, very seriously. We followed our students, we followed them, and we contacted their parents. But now, schools for the past decade have become so westernized that they are literally warning their teachers that you should never contact parents if a child isn't doing well. You should never tell the parent that the child is not up to par. You should never tell them what their child is struggling in. Excuse me, you know you should never say anything to the kids if they're doing something wrong. Okay, but when the kids are doing something right, then can you please support them? Or you're not supposed to do that either. Yeah? So it's basically now all hands off. They become so westernized in their education, and I'm sorry, but I'm not at all impressed by the Western education. I have seen the education system in Britain, and it is the pits. It is the actual literal pits. No wonder people don't want to teach there. Heck, I didn't want to teach there, and I was teaching there. And they literally begged me to go full time. And I'm like, not on your life, babe. I detest this system that you have going on, where there's literally nothing in it for the teachers or the students, really, in the long run. It's so fucked up. What do you guys, I mean, no wonder you guys don't know anything. I mean, now I understand why, the people in the West don't know jack shit. They don't even have general knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I've seen what they study in their schools. Nothing. And I really prided on our schools. But the fact that now our schools have become that, the clones of that Western system where all hands off, teachers have no rights, no duties, no responsibilities, and kids, can do whatever they want, and there's no discipline, there's no protection, there's no nothing. It's like, who cares? Yeah, excuse me, the whole point of a school has ceased to exist right there. Schools are supposed to be secondary parenting, okay? They're literally your second parents. So where your parents drop you off, you get another set of parents in the name of a school where you have so many people involved in educating you and turning you into better human beings, teaching you right from wrong, teaching you morality, values, ethics, etiquette, manners, teaching you to be good, upright citizens, heavily involved in your life to an extent that they should know how to help you, how to guide you. They're your spiritual parents. In Islam, teachers are spiritual parents. But in a place like Pakistan, where teachers are not even recruited on merit when it comes to colleges, like this Punjab group of colleges, where most of the staff was always recruited from Punjab University, and we know how the staff in Punjab University was never ever recruited on merit. It's a miracle if you get even one or two members of staff per department that are recruited on merit. Heck, even the head of the departments in Punjab universities were never recruited on merit. In a country where nobody is recruited for any job on merit, how would you expect those people to even know their job, let alone do their job? So you have these half-assed people, these pendus who are just up and about and bribing government officials to get a place in these government colleges and universities. And the reason why people started preferring private colleges and universities was at least their teachers were on merit as opposed to government colleges and universities. But the Punjab group of college followed the government college pattern of just recruiting anybody and everybody according to connections, according to bribes, according to, people who were recommended by the Punjab government and this. And basically, again, they were all staffed from Punjab University. So that is why I always had a problem with PGC. Seriously, I was like, what the frack? People are trying to get away from that Punjab University thing, because according to everybody, the biggest problem with Punjab University was, despite the fact that it is actually one of the highest merited universities and most difficult to enter into, because you really need to have a very, 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 you need to have amongst the highest marks to enter Punjab University, despite the fact that it's a government university, but it is internationally known and all. But the fact that it had lost its reputation decades ago, even internationally, to this extent that the teachers, because as I said, the heads of departments, the teachers, they were not recruited on merit, for a long time. It was all connections, So again, somebody who's not even good at what they do, and they're sitting on top of you and teaching you something that they don't know jack shit about. And those same people are now coming and getting recruited in Punjab group of colleges. What the frack? Seriously, why would I want to go to such a place then, That's what I always thought of this institution, of Mia Amers. And there you go, presto, you can see it yourself. This is what it amounts to. When you have principals and teachers who are not employed on merit, they cannot be good teachers, they cannot be good principals. Forget being spiritual guides or parents, The fact that in government colleges, the scandals of teachers molesting, drugging, prostituting their students, even though those weren't in Lahore, most of them were out of Lahore, but there were some in Lahore too. The fact that, people were like, okay, thank God we have so many private colleges that we can study at ease in. And then you go and do this at one of your so-called, self-claimed, alleged, prestigious institution. This is supposed to be a women campus. You go and you make a women campus, and then you heavily studied with male employees. How the frack is it a woman campus? You know what a women's campus is, right? We have government colleges for women. We have Canade College. We have Lahore College. These are colleges for women. Even though they had started co-ed postgraduate classes, but essentially these are colleges and universities for women, and their staff are all female. We never had a single male staff in Canade College. There was not a single male staff in Lahore College. Still isn't, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong here. You're telling me that you made a Punjab College for Women campus in Gulberg, Lahore, And you staffed it heavily with male teachers? What the frack were you thinking, you mother freaking a-hole? How is that a freaking college for women? You literally put predators. You put predators there. And now you're trying to threaten the students. And now you suddenly are saying, oh, the male students, the boy students who are all protesting, they shouldn't be damaging the property of the campuses. No, why shouldn't they? I'm saying I'm surprised that they haven't yet damaged enough. They should set fire to your whole campus, I swear. Don't you dare go and give us the damage of property. You damaged them. You damaged them. You killed one of their own after getting her assaulted, molested, raped. I mean, yes, you killed her. Don't tell me she went and died naturally. No, you made sure that she wouldn't live. You made sure of it. You killed her. You murdered her. So that she shouldn't be able to tell us what exactly went down and who were the culprits. Yeah. That's my full take on this whole episode. Okay? I am so tired of people trying to say, oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, you shouldn't damage that. What we shouldn't be damaging is each other's properties, and what we shouldn't be damaging is our own properties. What we should be damaging are the properties of the perpetrators. Yes, we have every right to do that. Why not? As I said, this country needs a mob revolution. The only way to get rid of these people is to kill them. I'm sorry, but no amount of peaceful protest is going to get us what we want. If you truly want to save your children, your future, your people, your country, you need to hang the bastards in the government. You need to hang the army superior officers. You need to hang the police superior officers. You need to hang, drag, and quarter. Or even draw, actually. Draw and quarter and drag and hang and do everything to Maryam Nawaz and her whole family, to Zardari and his whole family, and to their minions and goons in their parties. Every single member of their political parties needs to be killed. Why? They are traitors, they are fifth columnists. They're not even fifth columnists. At least fifth columnists had ideals, These are just mercenaries hired to do the job of destroying your country, creating chaos. What better way to create chaos than to ruin the future of your future generation, And how can you do that? Fuck their education. Stop them. Create fear amongst them so that parents should tell their girls that I don't care if it's a women's college, I'm not even sending you there. Creating chaos just to force, just to strengthen your grip on the nation and its people. Yeah, it's going to backfire. I've told you like 1,000 times, you mofos, that this is not going to work anymore. It's going to backfire because people are too pissed off. My generation is already way too pissed off to tolerate you. We literally want to murder you. Don't you even see that? We're controlling ourselves. The young generation that you're messing with, they are not going to control themselves. They are literally going to murder you, and with our blessings. Yeah. And anybody who tries to say, oh no, we shouldn't say such things, has just proven himself to be a mother freaking hypocrite, a coward, and a traitor. Because as I said before, a revolution is never a peaceful revolution. A revolution is always a mob revolution. You have to get heads rolling in order to set an example for the future generations and for those abroad, when it comes to messing with you. We have to send a message. And these people, as I've said 1,000 times before, they will never leave us alone until they are truly dead. And they are traitors. So treason is punishable by death. The fact that they killed so many innocent lives in these 2 years, and even before, remember the Model Town, the Model Town massacre by the same Maryam Nawaz's family and her government. The amount of killings that they've done, they are murderers, and again, life for a life. In our law, it's life for a life. They need to be killed. There is no other way. And anybody who tries to, be pseudo intellectual about it, or be a hypocrite about it, and say, oh no, you shouldn't do that. No, we cannot take extremists. Yeah, you need to get out. You really need to get out, because all you're doing is telling us that you're those same people who are standing in front of KFC, McDonald's, and Subway eating pig's meat. And why am I saying pig's meat? It is equivalent to pig's meat that you're eating from those restaurants that are financing the genocide of your fellow Muslims in Palestine. You are those people, actually. You are exactly those people who are eating from KFC, from Subway, who are, using Nestle's products, who are using Israeli goods, who are buying, products that are British, American, and Israeli. Yeah, you are literally contributing to the genocide of Gaza. You are those people who in 1947 would have been anti-Pakistan. Yeah, you would have gone against Qaid-e-Azam, and you're bearing the fruit of his labor, his hard work. You need to be killed too, actually. And that's a fact, okay? That's not just me just saying this. This is actually logically, legally a fact. Any and all traitors are supposed to be killed. Treason is punishable by death. And a person who is literally pigging out on products that are financing the killing of fellow Muslims, you are literally eating the flesh of your fellow Muslims. Or, if we're trying to be more polite, you're eating pig's meat. In other words, you're eating haram. Okay? Not that you care, but okay. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz. Again, stand with the children. Increase in number, regardless of whether you're a student or not. Get out there. Join them. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.